Hey guys, my name is Gail, also known as Pookie from my friends and family. Thank you for stopping by for my channel. Today I'm going to talk about my plan for this video and for my channel in general. I originally have done mukbangs and I will continue to do those. I plan to do them once a week. I have changed my eating plan a little bit because I honestly have gotten out of control with my weight. I have started a plan called the Starch Solution. It's actually the name of a book written by Dr. McDougal. If you're interested in the journey and what I'm doing to lose the weight, follow that. But one day, a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I need to get some vegetables in my life because the reality was I honestly had not had any vegetables. I felt like it was time for me to make a change and start to incorporate some vegetables into my life because they're good for you. I started looking up recipes on how to make meals with vegetables in a way that it was tasty, and that's what I stumbled upon this plan. Originally, I saw it listed and noted as the high density, low calorie diet. So basically you're eating foods that are heavy in weight to fill up your stomach, but very low in calories, so you don't consume so many calories, but also are feeling satiated. So that leads me here. In the last video that I did last week, it was a live mukbang. If you haven't seen that, I'll link it here. Take time to watch it if you want to. It was really great to interact with some of my longtime viewers. In that video, I noted my first week of weight loss. Each time I do a mukbang, whether it's recorded or live, I will note what my weight loss is for that week. I'm currently in my second week. The first week, I did already announce that I've lost 5 pounds. I will not discuss what my weight is. I will just discuss what the loss or gain will be for that week. So when I do my next mukbang, then you'll be able to see how much I lost in the week that I'm currently in. I'll do a mukbang once a week, whether it's recorded or live. And then this video is going to be a sample of another video I'm going to try to put out every week, which will show the foods that I'm eating, either a sample of them or what I'm eating in that particular day. Because this intro is somewhat long, I'm going to go ahead and get to the video, but I'm only doing a couple of meals. I'm doing a breakfast and a dinner meal, so I'm going to show you what I'm making, how I make it, and that is what I'm eating and an example of what I eat in a day. If I get hungry, I carry something with me like a fruit to be able to just eat pretty quickly, because those are things you could just take with you. So if you have to go somewhere and you're hungry, something like that is always available, doesn't have to be refrigerated. All right, so let's get into it. First thing I'm going to do is the oatmeal that I like to make in the morning. You can make oatmeal on the stove, but here I'm just going to use my water kettle to heat up the water. I'm using these old-fashioned oats by Quaker, just pouring them in a bowl however much I want. And ground cinnamon, I'm just sprinkling it on there. Get that water boiling, just pour that extra hot water on the oatmeal. Give it a little stir and see how I have extra liquid there. Do that so it'll soak it up just right. Okay, you can see here it's been about 5 minutes or so. It's soaked up. Keep in mind these are not quick oats. This is frozen mixed berries that I set aside to thaw and poured on top with some extra cinnamon. This next dish, I don't know if you've heard of spaghetti squash, but that is the base of the meal. So let's see what you think about that. Here's what it looks like. I am going to cut it in this direction, but if you're going to bake it in the oven, you should cut it the other way. I'm just cutting it this way so it will fit in my Instant Pot. Be sure not to cut yourself. This thing is dang hard, so I just that's how I cut it open. So this is what it looks like inside, kind of like a pumpkin. You just go in and you get what they call the meat out. Pretty much just make sure you get all the seeds out, and you can either save the seeds and roast them or grow them or whatever you want to do, or throw them away. But I'm going to clean out both halves and then we'll be able to cook them in the pressure cooker. In the Instant Pot, I'm just putting about a cup of water in the pan, and then I'm going to put this rack in it that came with the unit. And when I put the squash in, I'm just going to put with the bottom towards the bottom, as you see here. And then I'm just using this rack so it doesn't sit in the water. And then I'll put the lid on it, and I can tell you I've kind of messed with this because this is the first time I've used the pressure cooker, and I did it at 7 minutes on high pressure, and to me that was a little too al dente. So if you're gonna do the Instant Pot, I haven't done it yet officially, but I would do next time 15 minutes on high pressure, and I will let it do a natural release rather than a quick release. You can cook in the oven, but cut it horizontally, place it face down on a cookie sheet at 400 degrees for about 45 to 55 minutes. While that's cooking, I'm just gonna chop up some onions because I'm gonna make my sauce. You can use whatever vegetables you want. I'm using this onion and I'm gonna cut it pretty big just because I know it's gonna go in the sauce. It's gonna cook down a little bit when I saute it. So use whatever vegetable you want and whatever size you want. The easiest way I know to do the bell peppers is this way. Just cut off the top, reach in and grab that center piece which holds all of the seeds and pull it out. Again, use whatever vegetable you want that you think would be good in your marinara sauce. I just had to use this one because it was getting kind of soft. So take what you've got, cut it up to whatever size you want to be considered bite size. Here, I'm just cutting them in strips and then little chunks. Now it's time to saute the vegetables. I don't cook with oil anymore, so I'm adding water to saute my vegetables. Here I'm adding the onions first because they're harder, so I'm not doing the bell peppers just yet because they're softer. I did add too much water, admittedly, so I will be draining that a little bit, but you get the point. So I saute with water and I just make sure there's enough so it doesn't burn. Okay, while that's cooking, I'm gonna go release the pressure on the pressure cooker. This is what the spaghetti squash looks like. It is so good. I really love this. This is actually super low in calories. It's like 140 calories for a whole pound of this stuff. So as you can see, you just poke it with a fork and you can see how it pulls apart like spaghetti. So I'm just gonna set that aside and then start putting it into a bowl because I have to cook the other half. I did not put both halves in because they just wouldn't fit. I'm just going to add a little bit more water and set the next one in there to cook the other half. So just make sure this is cooled down to the touch. I was still fighting with it, but you can see you just get a fork and you just scrape along the edges until you get to the very thin part of the skin. It's actually quite interesting how all of this works, but it was a little too hot for me to handle here. Okay, let's get back to sauteing. Okay, so here's the vegetables, they're sauteing. Just make sure you stir them if you're not cooking with oil so it doesn't burn. Here you can notice that I drained the water because I had too much. Just be careful not to burn it. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and add the bell peppers because the onions are to my liking. And I won't cook those real long because I don't really like my vegetables super mushy. So just kind of mix them in together. And now you'll see I'm going to use diced tomatoes. It's just Great Value brand. Try to make sure you get like no salt added. Don't drain them, just pour the whole thing in there. Look how colorful that is. It looks so festive. Okay, tomato sauce is next on the list. Just pour that can in there. I believe that's an 8-ounce can. Mix that into what you have so far. Now I'm using a can of garbanzo beans, also known as chickpeas. Make sure you rinse and drain them completely before putting them in. That helps eliminate the gas, if you know what I mean. If you have Italian blend seasoning, you can use that, but instead I'm just putting ground thyme. I'm gonna also use some parsley flakes. I'm not measuring, obviously. Here's some oregano leaves. Put however much you want and whichever seasoning you'd like. Now I'm adding basil leaves. Sorry, didn't think that through. My hand is in the way. My favorite, garlic powder. I'm using this more liberally because I love it. I should have cooked with garlic, didn't think about it. Now I'm adding some more onion powder even though I have onion in there, and who doesn't like pepper? You can use ground or coarse pepper, whatever you prefer. I'm gonna toss in a dry bay leaf. That helps add to the flavor. And this amount of crushed red pepper honestly didn't make a difference. So I should have put more in there because there was no spice and I don't think it changed the flavor at all. So just give that all a good mix and let it saute a little bit more so everything kind of combines into that. And here I'm just putting the spaghetti squash on my plate because this is going to act as a spaghetti, if you will. And I'm gonna start to pour this yummy sauce over it. The bay leaf, if you don't already know, that's not edible. It's just there for the flavor. If you think this is thicker than you'd like, you can definitely add more water without a problem. This was perfect for me. Now this is nutritional yeast. You don't have to add it, but it does have added nutrients. I'm just sprinkling it on top. If you've not used this before, it has a bit of a cheese flavor to it. So to me, it's like a little bit of Parmesan cheese and some green onions that I just chopped up, and I'm just sprinkling on the top. So this is it. This is what it looks like. I have to tell you, I love this, and I will definitely make this over and over again. The garbanzo beans and the tomatoes made for a good meaty texture. This was perfect. I wouldn't do it any differently. This dinner was actually the first time I put this together. It was so good and savory. If you guys want to join my journey, support me, and maybe even do this with me, feel free to say hi in the comments and definitely let me know, is this something that you're doing already? Are you learning on how to do it? If you'd like to learn more about the plan, I can try to incorporate that into my videos. I certainly don't mind. I'm just happy to help. Thanks for taking time to watch my video. I do appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, I'm gonna go ahead and put a subscribe icon here. You can click on that. And if you wanna see a link of my mukbangs that I've done thus far, I'm gonna link a playlist right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, y'all.